So not every relationship with a corporate donor is going to last forever, right? Sometimes things change. Sometimes a corporation may change their philanthropic goals. Sometimes they may change the things that they're most interested in. It happens, right? That's a fact of life in the fundraising business, right? That not every donor, especially corporate donors, are going to stay with you for the long term. But a really important thing to think about when you're building a corporate giving program is those moments in time when a corporate partner does something that falls out of alignment with your organizational values. This can be something really small. Oftentimes it's something really big, especially if you're maybe working with corporations with a national or regional presence, right? A good example would be in the beginning of 2025, we saw Target really publicly move away from equality initiatives, DEI initiatives, things that meant a lot and mean a lot to a lot of nonprofits. And I imagine there might be some uncomfortable conversations in some boardrooms. I don't think it's pessimistic to say this is probably going to keep happening, right? The corporations aren't in the business of supporting your mission full time, so there are going to be times when they fall out of alignment with your values. Now, as a nonprofit leader, you really only have two choices here, right? Your first choice is to react. Company X does something that no longer seems connected to what you do. Maybe your donors are complaining, maybe your clients are complaining, and you have to make a decision. Okay, what do we do? Maybe we publicly distance ourselves from the donor. Maybe we return a grant check. Maybe we say, thank you, funder, for your past support, but we've got to move a different direction now. Adios. And that's probably a really important thing to do. But I think even more important is to have the conversation before that happens. Meaning, what constitutes a values misalignment for you? What are the red lines on your map where you say, if they cross this line, doesn't matter who they are, we've got to walk away from them? Now, this is a really interesting element of fundraising, and sometimes it flies in the face of the kind of scarcity fundraising that a lot of us were taught. Right? A lot of us were taught, like, any gift is a good gift. Just get the gift. That's the name of the game. Just keep getting it and don't rock the boat, because you don't know if another gift is going to come down the road or not. But as we start evolving as nonprofits and as nonprofit leaders start taking a more, let's say, a broader look at the world and their place in it, they may realize, well, not every gift is a good gift. And a gift from an organization that might be in conflict with our values, that's actually going to hurt us. That could hurt future gifts from coming in. That could cause current donors to walk away. I've certainly walked away from corporations whose values I don't really agree with, or who have taken stances that I don't agree with. Ask me why I don't shop at Amazon or Target or use Spotify anymore. Like, those were moral decisions that my family made because we're like, we don't like what these guys are doing. It's a small thing, but it's something we're going to do. Anyway, if you're on the board of a nonprofit, this is a fundraising conversation that the board needs to have. What constitutes a breakup moment with a donor? What is something that a donor could do, specifically an organizational donor? What is something they could do that would make us really reconsider our relationship with them? Now, again, sometimes you're not going to have those conversations and you're going to wait and something's going to happen. And again, I believe it's probably likely that something will happen, right? It happens too often for it to be, oh, it only happened to Target that one time. No, it happens a lot. So are you prepared for it? Are you having that conversation? From a structure framework, this is where a gift acceptance policy can play a role. Like, it can outline the decision-making process. It can outline some of those danger zones. It can outline, like, this is what the organization has the authority to do in regards to refusing or returning a gift. But even before you write that proposal, write that policy, you have to have that conversation. And board members, you should be at the table leading or facilitating this conversation. this is part of fundraising that's really not fun to talk about, right? It's much more fun to talk about all the ways we want to engage donors and all the ways we want to bring donors into our mission and give them an environment where their generosity is celebrated. And certainly I like talking about that too. But this is also a really important part, and it's a really important part of your corporate giving strategy. And I say corporate more than I say individual donors, and here's why. Individual donors will fall out of alignment with your values too, but they're much less likely to have a news story about their misalignment, right? They're much less likely to be all over social media because of this misalignment. So the nature of our relationship with corporate donors means that as a nonprofit, we need to have the conversation, we need to have the plan, we need to be ready. And it's not going to happen to every corporate donor. Don't misunderstand me. But you want to be ready when it does, because the last thing you want to do as a nonprofit is suddenly get into emergency mode and start burning up your energy and really trying to make decisions on the fly and having emergency board meetings, and no one benefits from that kind of environment. So if we can prepare and we can have a policy in place, if we can have had that conversation surfaced saying these are the core values of our organization, these are examples of things that fall out of alignment with those values, and these are things we will not accept money for. These are funds that we will not take. That's going to prepare you for a worst case scenario, and you'll be better served should that worst case scenario happen. So that's a little bit of bad news about corporate giving. And I've got more bad news and some good news to share about corporate giving too. I'm actually going to be leading a webinar this month. It's hosted by MonkeyPod, and it's going to be on the 29th. I had to look at my notes. It's going to be on the 29th. It's a free webinar. I'll put information in the link below, and I hope you can join us there as we're going to talk about some of the good news and some of the bad news that comes up with corporate giving. All right, keep up the great work. We'll talk to you soon.